Yeah, and we're really going after it. So I talked to my returners about how they thought the culture was, and they were back and forth on where we were, and we had some different answers that I wasn't expecting. But one thing they were really big on was doing more things together as a team, outside of just practicing and playing games. So we're doing a lot, like Matt said. We're trying to go to different sporting events. We're trying to go to a hockey game this weekend, where we have a couple players on the team to just support. We went to a basketball game last week. So we're trying to do more of that. We're trying to set up like team dinners throughout the season, just so the kids can hang out and kind of, gel a little better together. Another thing I do is I send them a text every morning just about something that, I think is important. It could be from, a game from the night before of any kind of sport or something that I saw, and we get the conversation going about whatever that topic was. So that's something I try to do. I try to be in contact with them every day, since I don't teach at the school that they're in, so I don't get to see them. So I try to talk to them every day in some different way and make contact.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Clearing the Bases, the podcast where we step up to the plate and dive deep into the world of youth baseball. I'm your host, Jimmy Filangieri. On this show, we discuss all things related to the preparation and development of youth baseball players, coaches, and yes, even parents. So sit back, settle in, and get ready to hear from some of the greatest baseball minds out there.
Man, coaching is the coolest job in the world, right? It's the greatest experience in the world. And you talked about learning and being a constant learner. And we talked about the mental prep earlier, and you add those things together, man, like that confidence piece is going to be huge for me. And so it wasn't what we did so much as how we did it, the conversations that were had, the assignments that were there, and it just helped grow confidence.
Okay, everybody, here we go again. The third group from the Diamond Coaches Development Group. Now, the first group we had 3, then we had 5, and now we have a cozy group of 2. Okay, so this is going to be good because now you're going to get peppered with more information from 2 really great coaches. But before we get this conversation going, let's hear a few words about the 6-Tool app.
For baseball coaches like you, every game brings measurable progress. However, game time isn't the time for trial and error learning. Instead, have a proactive approach. Use 6-Tool, the best baseball player development tool on the market. We provide a platform to level up your coaching strategy by helping you to quickly identify and address your players' knowledge of the game. By using our easy-to-implement interactive player quizzes, you can assess position-specific issues, overall baseball IQ, and much more. Win more games and develop better overall baseball players with effective off-the-field training. Visit us at 6-tool.com. 6-Tool. Get ahead in the game.
Tonight we have Joe Bowers, and Joe is from Walsh Jesuit High School in Ohio, and we have Matt Sanfilippo, and he is from Webster Schrader High School right here in the beautiful state of New York. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having us.
You there, Matt?
Thank you.
So, guys, let's just jump into it and give me a little bit about your school, your background, how you got into coaching, all of that kind of stuff.
I coach at Walsh Jesuit High School in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. I also went to school there. I coached football, basketball, and baseball there for about 12 years after I graduated college, where I went to Mount Union to play baseball. And I became the pitching coach in 2016 and the head coach in 2022. And that's where I'm at. Our program is a very, very good program. We have 4 state titles in the last 25 years. And we're doing pretty well, and we're trying to keep that up.
Tell us a little bit, Matt.
All right, well, I'm from Webster Schrader. It is cool. I also grew up here, played here, lived here. I've been in Webster my whole life. I have a little bit of a different path because I became a coach because of the experiences I had with the coaches I had. And so I just fell in love with trying to make a difference with kids and giving them a different experience. So I went to school. I didn't play baseball in college because I had to work and I had a kid already. So I literally graduated high school or graduated from college, excuse me, got a job at the school I went to school at. My first year here, I coached mod or 7th and 8th grade baseball for about 13 years and then JV for 3 or 4 years. I've done program assistance, working with all the kids in all the program. And this is my first year as the varsity coach. So
that's pretty cool because, Joe, you've been head varsity coach for 2 years, Matt 1 year, and me 1 year. I'm going into my second year, so very, very similar situation. So how are you guys finding it as a new head coach?
Yeah, it's a lot different than what you think as the assistant. You don't see a lot of the I don't know how the sausage is made, for a lot of the things, unless your coach is really actively trying to keep the assistants engaged in that. So all the background work that the head coach does is, it's a full-time job. Like you think, it's going to be fun and just go out there and coach practices and games, but it's all year and I'm doing something every day with it. And that's one of the things that kind of, they don't really tell you as an assistant, like when you're talking about being the head coach, that there's a lot more than just coaching baseball going on here.
What about you, Matt?
yeah, it's the same thing, man. My head coach has been the coach. The past head coach was the coach for the last, I think, 25 years. JV coach, he sort of kept me at arm's length. I didn't really know what was to expect. I knew there was things that we needed to do differently, but it's like, man, coming in, got to get uniforms, got to figure out hats, got to figure out all these things that you never really expect because you're like, I'm just going to go coach baseball, work with kids, and do all the cool stuff. And now I got to go to meetings, and it's just, like you said, a full-time job on top of your full-time job. It's pretty stressful at times so far.
It's pretty cool, Matt, because like I went to the school I coach at, and our coach was there for 26 years. So like we're kind of doing the same thing, but he had everything down where it was like, after 26 years, you kind of just have like a system going, and he had it going so organized and whatnot.
Right.
But, it's just like you don't do that overnight.
No, and then exactly. He's so organized. The guy that I'm taking over for was so organized, and I'm not that way. He was the most well-prepared human being on the face of the earth, and I'm a fly by the seat of my pants on a lot of things, and more excitement, more trying to do different things. Like we're going down to Florida this spring, right? And that was something he fought me on for the last 15 years, or fought us, or didn't want to do it, or whatever. And it's just doing all these crazy things that we're trying to change.
Yeah, I found that it was an eye-opener for me, too. And it's funny because when I left Stepanak High School, before I left, obviously, I sat down with the varsity coach and we talked. And he said to me, Jim, you're going to need a lot of help. And in my head, because I'm not that bright, I said, "Nah, I got this. This is no big deal." Well, he was just what you guys said. It's a different ball game. I mean, between fundraising and uniforms and making sure the hats are here on time, and everything that that you have to go through. It is a lot of work.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's talk a little bit about the about the Diamond Coaches Development Group. So I asked the other guys this, and I'm curious to know about you guys. So how did you hear about it? How'd you get involved? What made you do it?
Somebody posted it on Twitter or X or whatever it's called, and I thought I started reading through it and all the comments about it, and I thought, well, this might be a good thing for me, to do and reach out to other coaches and see what's going on throughout the whole country. So I found it on the internet.
Yeah, I found it on Twitter from Sheets. I mean, I've been following Sheets since, I don't know, like last 8-9 years. And luckily I ran into it. And I texted him to see how to get inside. I mean, immediately I thought it was a pretty cool thing to do. So especially as a new coach.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the way I looked at it. I saw again, Sheets posted it, and I jumped right on it because one of my big MOs is coaches education. That I believe that we never stop learning, and we should constantly try and educate ourselves. And what better opportunity than from a guy like Sheets?
Yeah, he's something. I mean, like he's changed my whole coaching outlook. When I found ABCA, first podcast I ever listened to was an ABCA podcast. I was driving to somewhere down. I was going to like Georgia or something, and I started listening to it. I'm like, man, this is what I want to do. This is the kind of coach I want to be. This is what I'm trying to do. And it was from there I've really changed a lot in who I am as a coach and as a human being. So.
Yeah, like I said, he's he's definitely somebody that's good to know and somebody that's good to learn from. So let me put it to you this way: we'll start with you, Joe. What do you feel like you learned from it, or what was your biggest takeaway?
A lot of the mental things. I really like the meditation, and we're definitely going to do that just to slow everybody down. Baseball's high anxiety. There's a lot going on. And I think just doing that meditation every day before practice and just kind of chilling everybody out and get their mind focused on what we're about to do is going to be huge for us. And I really like that and try to implement it in my life a little bit too, personally, and not just with the team, but I think the team's really going to like it.
Matt?
Yeah, to be honest with you, the organization of it, right? Like like I said, I struggle with organization a little bit, but just let's go back a little bit. A couple things. The first thing is that I'm not the only one in this situation, and that there's more people that are trying to figure things out as they go, and we're all in the same. Like you said, you're 1 year or 2 years in, or 1 year in, and so we're all on the same page there. The other thing is just trying to organize my program instead of just being the varsity baseball team. It's the Webster Schrader baseball program. It's setting an identity, setting a culture, trying to get the kids at the younger levels to fall in love with being a Webster Warrior, right? And that from there, we talked about a lot of that stuff, and that's really something that stood out to me.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, let's face it, we were there 10 weeks, and we really didn't talk X's and O's much at all. It was mostly what you guys just said, organizational stuff, mental stuff. And one tip I can give you, Joe, about the meditation, because I've been doing it for years. At first it's a little awkward, and it'll be hard. I don't want to say hard to catch on, but it'll take a little bit of time for it to catch on. But once it catches on, I can only speak for my players. My players actually look forward to it. To give you a perfect example is a couple of the players at my current high school played for me in travel ball a few years ago, like 4 years ago. And this year, I didn't do the meditation. And they came up to me and they said, "Hey, Coach, why aren't we meditating?" And I'm like, all right, guys, listen, new program, let's take this in baby steps. But my point is that they eventually look for it.
Right. It's one of those things that's like, oh, we're really meditating right now? And I can only imagine being in high school, 15 years old and thinking, are we really meditating? And then after a few, you're like, this is great. Like, I want to keep doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Matt? Something that you may move towards?
Well, I've been doing it. Not in baseball as much. Like, so I used to be the varsity bowling coach, actually. And we did it there. Because once again, just like being a hitter in baseball, right? You're up there by yourself, or being a pitcher, you're on the mound by yourself. In a bowling alley, man, you're the only one up there on these big moments. And so we did a lot of meditation, a lot of mental preparation, because I couldn't teach them how to throw a bowling ball, but I could teach them how to be a better athlete, be a calmer athlete, a calmer person. So we use meditation all the time. And that's something we've popped in and out of JV. Last couple of years, it's just been really difficult to do on a consistent basis, time-wise, because of where we have to practice. Like, I got to figure out a better way to do it, right? Like, so now, as a varsity coach, I should be able to have time, and the plan is to do every day some kind of mental prep.
Matt, have you ever seen The Big Lebowski?
Yeah.
when he's listening to the bowling tape, like the pins
Right.
going down, he's
That's
kind of meditating. That's exactly what I thought of. That's
Well, that's the funny part,
great.
because that's where I got it from. I'm not lying, man. I was like, all right, let's do it. We're gonna try. And I had some kids, man, they struggled mentally, and it was like, man, like mini hissy fits or whatever you want to call them. And it was like by the end of the year they were calm, and we'd always start off terrible, and by the end of the year they could battle. And so, and I take it from my son too. Like my son's was a baseball player, and he struggled, and his biggest struggle wasn't the physical part of it, it was the mental part of it. And so like I tried to teach him this meditation stuff, and he just wouldn't take it because the varsity coach wasn't doing it, or there's other coaches weren't doing it. So it was just something that I really, really, truly, truly believe in.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. The mental side of the game, I believe, is really the whole shooting match. I mean, I've said it a million times, I'm going to say it again, is that I'll take a player that's mentally tough and marginally skilled over a kid that is really talented skill-wise and weak mentally. It's the mental part is so much more important, and I think it's something that we as coaches, and tell me what you guys think about this, I think we as coaches should spend more time on that. What do you guys think?
Yeah, we absolutely have to do that. We have to get it in our practices more. I think the meditation's a good start, but if you can get more mental like reps and stuff like that during practice, like by making it harder for them than in a game, I think that's always good.
Mm-hmm.
So like I own a baseball facility too, and so we're like I just left there, and we talk constantly. We're hitting, right? We're doing all this hitting stuff, and the big thing is they get in there and they hit, they swing and they swing and they swing and they swing, and they never take a second, right? And it's just like trying to figure out how to slow them down. And so we talk about it every day when we start. We have conversations about, okay, so what's your approach here? What's your process here? Why did you just swing and miss at that ball? Why did this happen? And they'll start to recognize that it's because they're mentally not locked in, right? You watch a kid in a batting cage or in batting practice tattoo a ball, right? Like hits a 320-foot home run, 330-foot home run. The next swings like a line drive pull shot. The next swings like a cue ball. And they just, because they're not taking that opportunity to slow themselves down and to figure out that mental side of it. There was just a perfect video from Mookie Betts the other day or a couple of weeks ago on Twitter where he'd hit a ball and then it would take him like 30 seconds, 20 seconds to hit the next ball. It was just constantly being calm. You watched him find his focal point, stuff like that. Because really, it is the most important part of the game, right? You can have a guy with the greatest swing in the world. If you can't figure it out between the ears, he's done.
Yeah.
That's something that like my team struggled with last year is we were really into the coaching wise on the philosophy of like your hitting approach and whatnot to a point where I think it like made them think too much. You know what I mean? So like finding that happy medium of, you know, teaching and over teaching is huge for high school age kids.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I'm struggling with that right now. That's one of the things I'm afraid of, overcoaching it.
Right, and you can see them when they go in the box. They're like, "What the hell does he want me to do?" And really, like at the end of the day, you just want them to hit it hard. You know,
Right?
You could see their just brains churning.
Well, when you guys say that you're overcoaching, do you mean you're overcoaching with the mental side of it, or you're overcoaching with the mechanical side of it?
Me personally, I think it's the mental side of it, like the thinking part, the X's, like the strategy. Now we might have some coaches on the staff that are overcoaching the mechanical, but I'm not a big mechanical like coacher like that. Coacher, what a great word.
That's awesome.
But you know what I mean? Like I think I overdo it on the strategy and the mental side sometimes for the hitters. Since I was a pitcher, I kind of leave them alone because I know how hard that is. So it's harder for me to see it from the hitter's point of view as well.
Yeah, I definitely think it's mental. We actually have a rule, like my JV coach and I, we moved up together. All my assistants, we're not going to do any mechanical stuff. Like by the time they get to us, and we'll do mechanical stuff right now, right? We did a little in the fall.
Yeah.
We'll do a little now. We'll probably break it down and stop mechanical training in the next couple weeks here, and then pick up like the competition and the mental side of it. And once we get into season, man, like unless a kid wants to work one-on-one outside of practice with somebody, we're not changing mechanics. It's the mental side of it. And we talk so much and we go over so much and we practice so much of the mental side. It scares me that they're going to be like, where am I going here? What am I doing? So
Yeah, and that definitely happened to us last season. And I figured it out like, I don't know, midway through. I was like, what am I like? Why am I talking so much about that? We should be hitting. And I finally just shut up, and they started to hit better, obviously. So
right, like I keep preaching the idea of away, middle away, because we're in upstate New York, man. Everybody throws the ball in the outer half. And my assistant coach finally, like at the end of the year, he's like, or even like the last couple of months, my JV assistant was like, I think we tried that too much and we worked too hard on it and they failed at it. And I'm like, that makes perfect sense, man. I mean, we talk so much about it and they tried so much and we didn't hit very well. We
do the same thing, middle away. And finally, I just put our 1 BP cage was just, once you go in there, no one's talking to you, just hit it. And it seemed to work.
Yeah, that's something we're going to work on. I mean, is just shutting up. To be honest with you, that's something.
Right, and it's hitting a ball. It's hard, but you can do it.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, almost what you guys just said. See the ball, hit the ball. Okay, there's few things. Your head can't move. You can't get on your front side, and we drill that so that they learn how to hit that way. Stay on top of the ball. I'm trying to think. There's one other thing. Oh, keep your eye on the ball. It's like those 4 things, right? You think I wouldn't forget that one, right?
Yeah, that's overrated.
Yeah, but you'd be surprised how many kids I get, and I'm sure you guys see the same thing at the high school level that pull their head on every pitch. They're not looking at the ball.
Oh yeah. Oh my. I mean, it's every level. It's not just high school or little league. You see it in the pros and college as well.
Yeah. I mean, it just blows my mind. But my point is that, we have a lot of mental stuff that we work on, such as, Matt, you alluded to it, where, when they get in a cage, it used to drive me crazy. Swing after swing after swing. And it's like, hey, guys, when you're in a game, do you do that? You don't. The pitcher throws the ball. You usually step out a little bit. He's collecting himself, getting back on the rubber. There's time between the pitch. So what we started to do is drill into them that in the cages, what we'll do is they'll step out, okay, 1 foot back in the box. They'll stare at the barrel of the bat. That's their focal point. And they'll take a deep breath in, fill their lungs, hold it for a second, and then let it all completely out. Then get back in and get ready for the next pitch. So we're handling 2 things at one time there, where we're teaching them how to breathe, we're teaching them how to relax, how to focus, and also to slow themselves down with each at bat. So I mean, there's a lot of things that I believe that we should be doing to drill our players mentally. Okay, so like you guys were talking about pitch location, middle away, stuff like that. I really don't work with my guys on that unless, it's like maybe a two strike approach. And I'm even going to start getting away from that. 2 strike, middle away, and adjust in. We tell them that all the time. But I'm getting to the point where with like a 2 strike approach, just choke up a little bit, get a little bit wider, get a little bit closer to the plate, and bang. Whatever happens, happens. Put the ball in play. See it and hit it. We don't want to make them think too much. I don't know. Maybe you guys see it a different way.
No, I completely agree. I think this year I'm going to go more, when you're out there, it's your time to compete. Like, it's not my time to coach or anything like over coach. It's your time to go out there and it's you versus him to hit and let's go see what happens.
Right. And then really, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, to me, the most important time is when you're in that dugout and you're in the on-deck circle. Because if you take the time that you have in those, when you're there to study the pitcher, know his routines, know when he throws his breaking ball, when he throws a changeup, when he, how, so that at least when you get in the box, you're actually looking for a certain pitch. And I think that like those type of things are more important than, your hands go here, your hips got to do this. And, that's crazy. Just let him hit.
No, I couldn't agree more with that. Yeah, that's a great point. And I think I'm going to try to do something in our dugout where we chart, like on the wall so everyone can see it, not just in a notebook, like on the wall, everyone can see this count, he's throwing this. And I know that's not like a brilliant new idea, but it's not something we've done. So I'm thinking about bringing that out.
It's interesting because I really just hired a coach who is going to be, that's his like whole being on a team, is to be charting stuff, having stuff like that in the dugout so guys could look at quality at bats, charting
Yeah.
all of this stuff so that we have that information so that we could do well. And I think that, I would love to have an X's and O's guy, but to me, that is, I don't want to say more important than the X's and O's guys, but it's just as important.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That's what I did. I got lucky. So like I brought back my JV assistant coach is coming up with me. The two varsity coaches that were assistant coaches were already here are going to stay. And I brought in one of my former players who just graduated 2 years ago. And he's going to do the charting stuff. And my JV assistant coach, his job is to sit in the dugout and talk to the kids as the game's going on while everybody else is, I'm a third base coach, whatever, first base coach. We're all doing our other things. His job is to make sure that they're focused on seeing what is in front of them, not just guessing, because it is, man. The biggest problem for that our program that I've seen for our program is our dugout culture in the last few years, right? And so we're going to try to change that because they just don't pay attention. Because my guys, they don't watch baseball, right? They don't. We have really good athletes and very talented baseball players. We sat down and talked to the kids about who's your favorite player, and they're all still saying like Derek Jeter, right?
Oh,
like,
wow.
Right. They don't watch the sport. And so it literally, we had 18 kids and we were extremely talented, very talented team last year, and 18 kids, and 17 of them said, yeah, I don't really watch baseball.
Wow. That's amazing.
So, right.
So
It's crazy.
So, Matt, you said the magic word, okay, and that's exactly where I was going next is, being that we're all relatively new varsity coaches, what are you guys doing to set your culture, or how do you think you go about setting your culture? And what are you doing, like, with leadership and your players and stuff like that?
What was that? Okay,
That's
go ahead.
it. I'll go. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, we introduced what I call the Warrior Way, because that's our team. Our mascot's a warrior. So we talk about the Warrior Way, and it's being dedicated, disciplined, driven, and determined. And we talked about it. We go over it. We show examples of it. We talk about it in the classroom, in the whatever, in the facility, in the weight room, and everything else. We get the kids in the weight room for the first time. We're doing as much as we possibly can. I'm bringing them to different sporting events, right? So like tomorrow night, we're going to the basketball game. So everybody in my program, they're 80 kids. The expectation is you're going to go watch the high school basketball game and cheer on your friends. We went to every sport in the fall. We picked a night and went to and supported a Warrior team. Every team got supported throughout the fall. I have constant contact with my players and just having a conversation about, I had a kid, he hadn't showed up to school first period for 13 days. We had the conversation yesterday. I'm like, man, I'll win or I'll lose with not so talented players than win with people that aren't going to do the things that are expected of you as a Warrior. So just trying to bring that type of stuff.
Yeah, and we're really going after it. So I talked to my returners about how they thought the culture was, and they were back and forth on where we were, and we had some different answers that I wasn't expecting. But one thing they were really big on was doing more things together as a team, outside of just practicing and playing games. So we're doing a lot, like Matt said. We're trying to go to different sporting events. We're trying to go to a hockey game this weekend, where we have a couple players on the team to just support. We went to a basketball game last week. So we're trying to do more of that. We're trying to set up like team dinners throughout the season, just so the kids can hang out and kind of, gel a little better together. Another thing I do is I send them a text every morning just about something that, I think is important. It could be from, a game from the night before of any kind of sport or something that I saw. And we get the conversation going about whatever that topic was. So that's something I try to do. I try to be in contact with them every day since I don't teach at the school. that they're in, so I don't get to see them. So I try to talk to them every day in some different way and make contact.
Yeah, like yesterday, I literally went through every kid's grades yesterday, and texted them a message. Hey, I'm pretty proud of you. Did a great job here. If you're struggling, let me know. I can help you with this subject. Let me know if you need a tutor. And every one of them was like, man, I appreciate it a lot. Thanks a lot. Like, it was cool that the more you buy in as a coach, the more they're going to buy in. And it was pretty outstanding to get the feedback from them, because I didn't know how they were going to react. I'm looking at all their grades and asking them if they need help and stuff. And teenage boys are generally not the most outgoing or willing to ask for help people. So just the most you can do, the more contact you can become, show them that you care.
Show them that you care. Yeah.
Not just a coach, that you really do care about their well-being as human beings and young men. It's not just about the baseball world.
Yeah. And, like, it's one thing to tell them every day, like, we care, we love you, but like to actually show them, I think means 1,000 times more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. But I got to tell you, you guys both just taught me something, because one of the things I've been struggling with is that culture, to make them buy in, to get them to understand what it takes. And when you guys said about getting all of the baseball players together and taking them to a basketball game to watch the game, I'm going to implement that immediately, because it just hit home with me, because I've been kicking myself, saying to myself, what am I doing wrong? Because I'm trying to get the boys to come on Zoom meetings. I'm trying to engage them, like you said, text messages, and I'm getting very limited response. And it's getting frustrating for me. But I think that what you guys just said is because again, I'm not a teacher in the building either. I they don't see me other than, if we have a practice or an event or something. That's fantastic, guys. I love it. Thank you for that, because that's something I'm going to do.
I'll tell you what, the field hockey team, man, we went to the field hockey game, and we had 40 baseball players sitting there, and the kids were like, man, this is pretty cool, actually. And and you were talking about leadership, and that's where the other thing, right? So we showed up to the field hockey game, and I'm watching, and I'm sitting in the other part of the stands just watching to see what happens. And I walk over, and one of the varsity players goes, he's like, and I'm talking to him, he's like, I'll be right back. And I'm like, okay. He goes down to the end of the stadium, or the end of the steps, and he grabs the seventh and eighth graders and brings them up and starts talking to them and chatting them up during the game and stuff like that. And it's like, those are the reasons you do it, right? There's a 17-year-old kid who took initiative to go grab a 13-year-old he's never met in his life, and bring him up and have a conversation with him and show him, hey, this is what Warriors are,
Yeah, that's awesome right there. That's what it's about.
Yeah, it really is. So, I mean, like I said, to me, that's really, really impactful. Let's move to a different. I did this with the last group, I believe it was. So let's jump into this a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about parent communication. How do you deal? How do you deal with your parents?
I send a weekly email, or Parent Square. We have a thing. We're actually not supposed to text our kids, and even like group me and those types of things are frowned upon. Our district has something called Parent Square, and the kids can get on it too. And it's basically group emails. So I send out every Sunday, hey, this is what our plan is this weekend. This is what the expectations are. We have weight room Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We have this game on Tuesday night. We are doing this, and whatever other information that I can give them. One of the biggest complaints in our program over the last 20 years is the lack of communication. So I'm just trying to be on top of that communication piece as much as I possibly can. I had a meeting the first week of school to introduce myself and my staff. We had meetings for 7th and 8th grade, 9th and 10th grade, 11th, 12th grade. We'll do it again when the season starts. And it's the more information I give them, I feel the better off we're going to be.
Yeah, and we do the exact same thing. I send an email out on Sundays with all the parents on it, just telling them what's going on, just like Matt said. And basically everything Matt said, that's exactly what I do too. It's kind of weird, Matt.
Yeah, I think I'm a big bearded dude too. So you might be my brother somewhere along the line. I don't know.
Yeah, there might be something there. We're also the Warriors. I don't know. It's getting weird, man.
That's crazy.
Well, wait a minute. Now I'm really going to make it weird because we're the Warriors also.
Come
There
on.
you go.
All right. What color? I'm blue and gold though. So
We're navy and gold.
Yeah, we're
all right.
maroon and gold.
All right.
That's
Blue and gold, royal blue and gold, baby. So you guys got gold helmets at least?
what do you mean?
We don't. No.
No, we don't. Ours are navy.
That's what we just this year. I just bought gold helmets. I'm like, we're going all in. We're
Like shiny gold, like Notre Dame gold.
They're matte gold. They're
Oh
black
wow.
gold. But I'm like, man, we're gonna like. I'm a big believer in setting goals, and I talk about championships and stuff all the time. And I know some people don't. The goals too far down the road and stuff like that. I'm like, man, we're gonna ride this gold theme as much as we possibly can. We're going for gold. We're doing everything. We are superior. Like that's what we're trying to be. We're hunting gold, and we're gonna include it in everything we possibly can. So
I love that because I've been kind of going the opposite way where we just talk about like you said, like not looking too far around. But I don't know. I'm starting to think that maybe, that gold standard, like you talked about, is kind of the way to go and keep everybody, excited and focused on that goal.
right. Like I love gold. Like you have a daily goal, you have a weekly goal, you have a monthly goal, you have a season goal, right? This is our season goal. And we're going to do everything we can to reach that goal. And the way to do that is by meeting the daily goal, the monthly goal, all that other stuff. But this is our overall goal. I asked him, I said, hey, listen, what do you guys want to do? What do you want out of it? Well, we all want to win a brick, which is our championship, right? We want to win a brick. Okay, then that's what we're going to do. That's our goal. Every single one of my kids wants to win a brick. Let's go.
That's great. So you both said that you meet with the parents. Talk to me a little bit. What do you go over with them in those meetings?
In the parent meeting?
Yeah.
Oh man, I've got a whole list of things. Well, first we talk about communication and, like the proper way to communicate with me and when I'm going to communicate with them and like, about, I'm not going to talk to them about certain things and I will talk about certain things. Then we talk about just the season, what's coming up, the training that we do. I'm trying to think. Matt, go ahead real quick because I'm blanking.
So my meeting was pretty straightforward. I mean, I just wanted to introduce myself. But everybody in my community basically knows me. I've been coaching in Webster for 20 years between, like I said, modified, but travel and everything else. So a lot of people knew me, just to showcase or show them what our goals are. Right. And like I said, we've had an issue with communication. And parents have been upset with communication throughout our program. Not so much at the varsity level, but other parts of the program. So I'm trying to do everything I possibly can so that they feel comfortable and know exactly what is the expectation is. And my biggest thing in that meeting was just to roll out, hey, like I said, that warrior way, that new culture, that new identity, that these are the expectations. If you want to be on it, great. Let's go to work. If you don't, let's have a conversation and figure out what we can do to get you on it, and those types of things. But we'll talk about anything. When we get to the in-season meetings, it'll be a lot about, hey, I'll communicate to you every week still. I'm not going to tell you what my lineup is. I'm not going to do these things. But if you have a question about why your son isn't in the lineup, I will tell you why. I have no problem with it. I communicate with my players, and they know, hey, right now you're the fourth outfielder. Right now you're the second string shortstop. Right now you're the cleanup hitter. Right? But that's right now. Everything could change. So we try to communicate it not only with the parents but with the players too.
Yeah, we did the same. And I talk about the same thing about how, I'll talk to the players first. And then obviously, if there's a bigger problem, I'll talk to the parents. But I'm going to tell the truth, the 100% truth. It's not going to be sugar coated or anything. So if you're ready for that, then we can talk.
Right. I am not. I'm going to be honest with you, and you guys and parents have to be honest with us, right? And they have to trust that I have their kids' best interest, and I have our program. More importantly, I have our program's best interest in my heart, right?
Right. Trying to do the best thing for Walsh Jesuit baseball is how I end the meeting.
Right. Yeah, it's parents, and I'm a parent whose kids went through this program, right? So I have a kid in college right now, and I have a kid that just graduated. And they both played in this program, and I know the ups and downs of it, and I know. So basically, I'm taking what my frustrations were as a parent and trying to change that, if that makes sense. So like
Oh
I
yeah, that's
watched
good.
those types of things, and I watched the things that were bothered my kids, and I'm like, that's what we're going to try to work around.
Right. And our previous coach's thing was he was always like, if you got to over communicate, like there's nothing you can leave out. So if it's there, communicate it to the parents so they can't say that you're not communicating.
Yeah, and that's the exact opposite of where our program was, and that's really what I'm because I'm not, like I said, again, going back to organization and communication. I haven't always been the greatest at it, but now I know, like you said, the more you tell them, the less they can have questions, and when there's less questions, there's less things spinning in their head. Um, Parents and players, there's less thoughts. You know what I mean? If they know what's going on, there's less. Hey, he just doesn't like my kid, or hey, coach doesn't really like me, that's why I'm not playing. Those types of things. So
This is all eye opening to me because I I come from the train of thought that I want to communicate with my players. I don't want to communicate with parents. I talk to the parents once a year. Don't get me wrong, there'll be a little chit chat here, a little chit chat there. But I have one parent meeting in the beginning of the season, and that's the end of it. Not because I don't want to, but it's because I believe that I'm trying to build young men. So I believe that I should communicate with them and they should communicate with their parents. So once I meet with them, and in the beginning of the season, it's almost like what you guys just said. It's expectations, number one. Obviously, I introduce myself and tell them what the program is about. And then after that, that's it. I really don't talk to them anymore. So this is eye-opening with like you guys said, that you send a weekly email. That's interesting.
Yeah, but when we get down to the nuts and bolts of the season, like I'm sure you guys deal with, it's Tuesday at 4, we're supposed to play X team, but their field's not ready, so we found another game in wherever. I tell the players, like, I'm texting them, they got to figure it out with their parents. Like, you know what I mean? It's not my job to tell the parents what's going like that to that level. I'll send an email out when I have time, but right when I find out, the players know so they can tell their parents, hey, this is what's happening.
So I almost feel like what you guys just said, in terms of giving them that weekly email, this is what's going on this week, this is what we're doing. It almost seems like now you're creating an ally. Because, in my situation, I'm struggling a lot with, texting 30 some odd kids and saying, all right, guys, let me know when you could make a Zoom meeting this week. And I get 11 responses. Okay. And that drives me crazy. So maybe, to your guys' point, I send an email out to the parents. This way the parents are saying, hey, don't you have a Zoom meeting Tuesday night at 7:00 with Coach? And maybe it'll help. So maybe it's not such a bad idea. But I'm listening to you guys and I'm saying I never did that.
right, like, so for example, one of my kids' parents works in my building, and the parent came up. They came up to me today. It was like, we were supposed to do something tonight or tomorrow, and she was like, well, he can't make it. I'm like, that's okay. He needs to tell me. He needs to come talk to me.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming to say something, but he needs to come talk to me, right? I have no, like, it's not an expectation needs to be there 100%, but I also don't need your parent to come talk to me. I need the 16-year-old boy to learn, or kid to learn, hey, I need to go communicate with coach. I can't rely on my mom and dad to do it for me. So she went back and talked to her kid, and half an hour later he came down to my classroom and was like, I can't make it tomorrow. And so you sort of, like you said, that ally part, like it really has so far worked that way. So
Yeah. And what we talk about is like when you go to college, mom and dad aren't there to get the email from the coach and, get you out of bed to get to practice at whatever time it is. Like you've got to be on this, and college coaches will appreciate that.
Right. But I like it from the standpoint of the scheduling thing. If you send out that email once a week and say, okay, these are the events this week, and just let the parents know, then yeah, if little Johnny doesn't show up or, forgot about it, mom and dad are going to be there to say, hey, wait a minute, don't you have this, that, or the other thing? And it might help my situation. So, I mean, I think it's worth a try because I'm going to start banging my head against the wall, and I can't afford to get any more stupid than I already am.
And not only that, but I mean, think about it. Like, I mean, we all grew up in a different generation, obviously, like where there wasn't so much, right? These kids have so many things to do.
Yeah.
The parents have so many places to be, right? Like, if they don't know weekly, like if all of a sudden on Tuesday you shoot a text to your kids, hey, we're going to go watch this basketball game. Like, it's really hard to get them there, right? But if you say, hey, Sunday night, on next Friday, we're going to go watch this basketball game. The parents can say, okay, I can get a ride from my other kid to do here. I can get my, like, they start to be able to plan it out. And so that was the other thing, as once again, a parent of a player who's, my son played volleyball, my son played hockey, like he played all these other sports and we were doing all these other things. And I never knew until the last minute what was going on. And so I couldn't get him there. And it's like, all right, so now we got to make a decision so I try to take the guesswork out of things for people, because our lives are way busier than when we were kids. These kids' lives are way busier than.
Oh, by far, yeah.
And the parents' lives are way, way busier than, you know what I mean? Because they got multiple kids running around playing 42 sports and playing 12 instruments.
Okay, so you know what? Being that we just went through something that I'm struggling with, you know what? I'm going to be selfish and I'm going to move to something else that I'm struggling with, that I'm having a hard time. So, and Matt, you're in New York, so you're in the same situation I am. I don't know how it is in Ohio, Joe, but you guys let me know. What do you guys do in the off season?
Well, Joe, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You got it.
Well, I'm sorry. I have, like I said, I'm a part owner of a facility, so I'm kind of lucky. So we meet every Sunday. We have the 7th, 8th, 9th graders meet from like 9 to 11. And then 10th, 11th, 12th graders meet from 11 to 1. And we hit and we throw, and we haven't started our throwing programs yet because we gave them a couple months off of throwing, but we do our classroom, we do a mobility circuit, and right now we're working, like, I'm a big small ball believer, so the first 20 minutes of every practice so far has been about bunting, and then we do those types of things. We also do weight room Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's been less of what I want because a lot of kids aren't going to the weight room, but they're going to the weight room on their own. They're going somewhere else. You know what I mean? A lot of them work out at different places. So I know they're in the weight room. That's a culture thing. The weight room's a culture thing to me too. So I'm trying to get them to our weight room. And then there'll be a couple times that we'll rent a facility, a bigger facility. So mine's just like 5 40-foot cages and then one that's like 35 by 70. So we can't put an infield and stuff in there. So we'll go rent a place that we could do infield stuff. And those types of things.
So we've done different things in the fall when it's nicer out, like September, October. We do some open field type deals where the seniors kind of run some drills and then they play like an inter squad with a machine for about 2 hours, a couple times a week. In the winter, this is when it gets tough because our gym, we have to use a gym like you guys, I'm sure. So we're out there, and our time we get is usually 7 to 9. So it's late night, and we try to do what they call 6-man workouts. So they let you work with kids in groups of 6. So you can have as many groups of 6 as you want, and coaches can coach each group of 6. So you can rotate them through and do different things with them. So we try to do that once or twice a week. The thing that is tough for us, not being a private school, is our kids are from all over the place. So I don't know how it works in New York, but our kids are from, anywhere from 5 to 4 an hour away. Yeah. So a lot of our kids have they go to personal places or personal trainers or things like that, hitting coaches, pitching coaches. And that's kind of a debate. People is that good or is it bad? But, it's all the means to the same end. We're trying to get better at baseball. And I feel like if you're doing that, then you're doing something for our team. So I don't know. I don't know if that's what you're struggling with, Jimmy, is kids going to different places or what. It's tough because I see all these teams around here. They kind of, as a public school, they can get together and they're there every day and they can say, hey, no, you're not going there. You're staying here. But we really can't do that. So I don't know if that's what you're thinking, Jim. But
Yeah, it's identical because mine is a private school, and we have the same situation. Kids, come from all over, and yeah, I mean, I'll start. Once I get back from the convention is when I typically start, and I expect. I shouldn't say I expect. That's not right. I would like to think that if you're trying to make the team and you're trying to get better at baseball, that you would come to those workouts. They're free. You don't have to pay for them. You come and you work out.
right.
And right now we're getting a very small amount of kids that come out for two teams. We have JV and varsity. We get about 34, 35 kids, but out of that number, I don't know, maybe 12 will show up at a workout, 15 maybe on a good day, maybe 18. That drives me crazy.
Yeah. It's the same problem for us. And I don't know about you. We have a lot of guys that play different sports too. So, when we do get to that workout stage when it's 12 to 18, it might not be it might be 12 freshmen and not, the 12 varsity returners.
Right, we have the same problem. And the kids that play winter sports, by all means, that's what I want them concentrating on. I don't want them there.
Same.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's not that many of them. And I think that what I'm doing is I'm fighting a battle with travel teams. I believe that,
Absolutely.
and my biggest pet peeve with that is if you're a travel organization, what are you getting them ready for in January and February? Why? They don't start with you till June. So
You got to justify the pay.
Oh,
Right.
Travel
Right. Yeah.
I'm
You know what I
be-
mean? But I got to justify it somehow.
yeah, I'm being facetious because I know
No,
what
I
the
know.
reason that I know the reason they do it, but it just drives me crazy because we're trying to get ready for a season, and if I have half of my pitchers going somewhere else, then they don't know what I'm thinking. They don't know what I expect from them. So yes, to your point, Joe, they are working with somebody. Yes, they are getting their pitching in and they're doing what they should be, but that's only half of it.
Yeah.
So that's why, I don't know if you guys have the ability or financially or capable or whatever. We pay to use the facility because I have business partners, but so we rent my facility every Sunday, and the best thing that we do is go on Sundays because there's no other sport going on. They're not. They're not. They don't have school basketball. They don't have school hockey on Sundays. They don't have any of this stuff, and we schedule a ton of them. So we started October 1st, and we'll go till March 19th, which is when tryouts are every Sunday except Super Bowl Sunday. And the expectation isn't for you to be at every one of them. You can be at every one of them, but the goal is to be at as many that you possibly can. And most kids are going to show up out of those 20 weeks or whatever to 16 of them. So they're going to miss 4 because they have this or that, but they're there and they're dedicated, which is what we keep talking about. That was my biggest thing with my guys when we first met was about dedication. And the lack of dedication to Webster Warrior baseball, or I watch football and all these other sports. And if a kid doesn't show up to the weight room for a football team, they get in all sort of hot water. But in baseball, they or other sports, it's like, we're just not going to go today. It's trying to change that culture. But the Sundays were the best answer we had because we tried to do the weeknights and all that other stuff. And it's like, I got basketball, I got this, I got that. And I get it. Well, we have Sunday mornings. So that's what we did.
But what kind of
It seems
turnout,
to work.
Matt? What kind of turnout do you get?
So I have, in the two groups, I get about, out of the 80 kids that I've expected to be in our program for between 7th grade and 12th grade, we'll get about 50 a week, 50 to 60 a week.
Wow.
So So we'll, like I said, it's broken up. So we'll have about 25 in the younger group, about 25 to 30 in the older group, 35 in the older group. So, and like I said, I think it's building that culture and that idea. Okay, we're talking about dedication, right? It's okay to go to the other sports. It's more than encouraged to go to the other sports. Like my son played Division I baseball, not because he was the greatest baseball player in the world, but because he played multiple sports and he became a great athlete. Right. So I fully believe in playing multiple sports, and I know they have a lot of stuff going on. That's why it's like, all right, we'll schedule 20 of them, show up to as many as you can. So but we talk about being dedicated baseball players, right? We talked about dedication in the classroom, dedication to the other sports, but we need dedicated baseball players. And that's seemed to have worked.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it. What kind of numbers do you have, Joe?
For the things right now,
Yeah.
we're about 25, 30 of 65.
Yeah. See, we don't. Maybe that's the problem because again, when I was in Stepanak, we had, 75 kids that actually made teams. Freshman, JV,
Yeah.
Varsity, and I would say that we probably had close to 100, if not more, that tried out. So we had a lot of kids. I'm here, and I think that a lot of the problem is kids aren't stupid. They're smart. They know there's 35 of us that are interested in playing baseball. There's 2 teams. That's 17 on each team roughly, and we're all going to make the team. That's the way they look at it.
Yeah.
And what I did to try and shake things up last year is I actually had cuts. I don't remember how many were, but I wound up taking 14 and 14. So there were maybe 7 kids or so that got cut. And again, it's not because I wanted to be mean or I just wanted to cut. First of all, there was a reason why I cut them, and I explained them all, explained it all to them. But I just don't want people to think that, oh, he doesn't have the numbers, I'm going to make the team, and then, it hurts the culture.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the kids that should make the team know it too. Like that he doesn't want to be here. Like he's just here.
Right.
And that brings everybody down as well.
Right. It actually got back to me. There was just to show you how much the kids think that this is, the God-given right. They came to me the other day, new freshman. The kid's a good ball player. I know of him, and I know he's a very good baseball player. But he came to the school and he said, "Oh, I'm going to make varsity this year." He said, "I'm already one of the best players in this school." Now, I could tell you this, that you would have to be the next coming of Derek Jeter to make varsity as a freshman in my program. So,
Or be a catcher.
What's that?
Or be a catcher.
I have a
Or
ton.
be a catcher,
Matt,
man.
I have a ton of catchers.
I have none. I got 2, and none of them are. I got a 10th grader and an 8th grader.
Oh my.
Oh, I'll send you a couple.
Mind you, I have 2 kids that are going to throw. I got 2 kids that are going to throw 88 to 92.
All
and
right.
I got an 8th grade, possible 8th grade catcher.
All
You
right.
can play the 8th grader in the high school?
Yeah, you just got to pass a test, a physical test. So yeah, like dude, the kid is 5'8", 180 pounds. He squats. He deadlifts like 380. He bench presses like 190. Like this, he's not a normal 8th grader. The kid lives and breathes this.
Well, wait a minute. Let's go back to what you said before. You have a kid that's going to be throwing what, 93 to 95, you said?
No, 88. I got 2 kids that'll be 88 to 92.
Okay, 88 to 90. I'll tell you what. I'll send you a couple of catchers. You send me those 2 guys, and we'll be fine.
No. All right, I'll send you one. We'll trade one.
Okay.
1 and 1.
We'll
One
trade
for one. I like that.
All right, guys, let's move on to the last thing that I want to know, and that's with the Diamond Coaches Development Group. What was your biggest takeaway? What did you gain the most out of it?
I think my biggest takeaway was that we're all kind of going through the same thing. And it's not just, me in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, like worrying about, whatever I'm worrying about. It's, Sam in Utah and Jeremy in California and, Brendan in Texas. Like we're all doing the same thing. I don't care where you are. We're all worrying about the same thing. We're all doing the same thing and trying to figure it out. And I think that really gave me some I don't know, it just made me feel better.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, aside from that, like, was there anything that Sheets brought out that, that you took away and said, hey, I'm doing that right away? Or was it everything?
So with me, it gave me confidence that I was doing the right things. Like, because I think the first couple of homework assignments, I'm like, man, this is what got me my job, right? These are the things that I used in my interview already, right? And I thought that was pretty cool. So like, because I'm not the most confident human being in the world. Like I said, I'm always a little nervous about falling flat, but to know that I'm doing the right things or I'm on the right path, and it's something that, like Joe had said, other coaches are in the same place as me. It's pretty. That was the biggest part. Like, to me, man, coaching is the coolest job in the world, right? It's the greatest experience in the world. And you talked about learning and being a constant learner. And we talked about the mental prep earlier, and you add those things together, man, like that confidence piece is going to be huge for me. And so it wasn't what we did so much as how we did it, the conversations that were had, the assignments that were there, and it just helped grow confidence.
You have anything? You have anything to add, Joe?
Yeah, I like when we talked about the mission statement. I think that was at the beginning, like just kind of setting the groundwork for the whole program of what we're trying to accomplish. Like we had one, I have had one before, but just kind of revamping that and kind of retooling it to sound better and more, I don't know, inviting for high school kids, and not, just a bunch of jargon to make me sound smart.
What I took away from that mission statement was that you had to do it without saying I, me, or my. Okay, and to me that was very powerful, because I am fully aware now that when I talk to my team, that I remove the I, me, or my. It's always we, us, our. It was just huge, and again, it's those type of things that if somebody doesn't, like Sheets, bring that up to you, you're never going to think of that. It's like the last thing on your mind, but it's really important, because again, it gives, not, because again, one of the things I've always said, and I just had this conversation with another coach today about guys who played at higher levels, like that played in the minor leagues and this and that, is all you hear out of them is, well, I did this, or when I did that, or when I did this. And you know what? I always hated that. I was like, because nobody gives a crap what you did, 10, 20 years ago. Nobody cares. So I now adopt that where I'm trying not to be I, me, my, it's us, We finally,
right.
we finally get to see Matt, and then he went away.
What the hell is he showing us? Did you see him? You got like paintings going on?
I made it to my classroom. What do you want to see? Like, I
don't know. You had some like weird painting going on there.
Oh, these are my ceiling tiles. We do. I teach social studies, so this is 9th grade social studies. Athens in Greece, Sparta versus Athens. So they paint ceiling tiles. I don't like plain stuff, man. Like, my walls are, I got autographs and Funko Pops and everything else in here. So
that's awesome.
Oh, God. So the other thing, too, I want to talk to you guys about, which is very interesting, because this group, more so than the other two groups, though, you guys talked about confidence a lot, and about, because there were other guys that said it, too, that, they came into the group and they were a little apprehensive, we'll say, okay? And I'm sure that based on what you guys just said, you felt the same way?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm not good at those kind of things, sitting in groups and talking like that. That's kind of why I did this, was kind of to get myself out there, face the fear a little bit and kind of try to get better at it.
Matt?
I remember you said it. This is the first time you seen me. I remember the first day where he's like, oh, we're going to get out. Like, I would literally fake that my phone just cut out when it would come to my turn to talk. And because I just would lock up and I would have fear, the confidence wasn't there.
because
With
like
that beard? Come on, man. Look at that thing. Oh my.
yeah, no, right. Like it's just a terrible, it is a disease that I have that I just like, for me, the funniest part for me is my voice is now going to be recorded, and that freaks me out more than anything in the world. I'm like terrified of my voice being recorded, and it's like whatever. So, no, that confidence piece, it was pretty cool. If it wasn't for that, those 10 weeks, and though I didn't jump on and talk, and I wasn't always on them, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here. Like I wouldn't be on this conversation right now. It made it pretty cool because everybody's on the same page. Right, like it was pretty outstanding.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I can tell you, number one, what you just said about your voice being recorded. It took me probably 6 months to a year of doing recordings of this show before I would even launch it. Okay,
Yep.
because I would hear my voice and I would say, you sound like this, you sound like that. It doesn't. So the point that I'm making is what you guys are feeling and what the other guys were feeling is normal. It's normal. When I first started doing this show and I interviewed guys, I was a nervous wreck because I was like you guys. I didn't have that confidence. But the more you do it, the more you talk to people. Now I feel like I can interview anybody, and I'm not going to feel that way anymore because it's comfortable. And that's all it is. It's just the more you do it, the more you get out, the more you talk to people. And, it's not like you guys are idiots. There are some people that do have to worry about what they say.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
go too
let's
far. I
be
wouldn't go
honest.
too far, Jim.
Right.
I wouldn't. You don't know me
We have a
that
high school
well.
baseball coach. So
Yeah, we've never actually met in person. I wouldn't go too far.
well, and it's funny because, like you said, like I already told Sheets I'm going to do the next round too, because like I will have more confidence to do it. I will be able to speak up more and be engaged more. So
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the only way you get better at it is by, you got to do it.
100%.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joe,
I don't know, man.
It must be the beard.
it's
It
got to be
must
something
be.
like, bro.
Look
like,
at
you look
his, like-
we could be brothers. How old are you?
34.
Well, man, my dad. I don't know, man.
Maybe he
around.
ran. I don't know if I like how you're talking about my mom. I don't know.
Man.
I don't know,
Maybe it was
man.
my mom then. I don't know.
Oh, God. All right, guys, listen. This has been a pleasure. Look, I told you guys this was going to be easy. I thought the conversation went nice and smooth, and I can't thank you guys enough. And like I said to everybody else, I'm really happy to have you guys in my life. I'm glad that we met. And look, these relationships will just keep, growing and growing. So thank you very much, guys.
That was a blast. Thank you so
thank
much, Jim.
Yeah, no, not a problem. It's my pleasure, guys. Are you guys going to D.C.?
I am.
You are.
I won't be there this year. No.
Geez, that might be 3 guys. I told Cam that I was going to go up to Wisconsin and grab his ass and drag him down. Then I told Ricky that I was going to circle back through Tennessee. So now I'm going to go through Ohio and grab all 3
I
of you
mean, I
guys.
might be on the way. I might be on the way to all of those for
That's
you.
right, exactly.
Swing by.
So, but yeah, we'll hook up sometime, Joe. Matt, I will definitely hook up with you in D.C. And,
Awesome.
And thanks again for coming on, and have a good night, guys.
You too. Thanks, Jim.
You too.
Well, that wraps up our 3rd and final episode with the Diamond Coaches Development Group. We had 10 coaches in 3 episodes, and we didn't even get to Dan Thurston of Southwestern High School in Indiana and Tom Prendergast, who is from Clarkstown South High School, right in my backyard. And I mean, it was just amazing, all of the information that these guys put out there. We talked about, well, let's put it this way, just about everything that coaches need to know. And a big, big shout out to Sheets. Because let's face it, if it wasn't for him, none of this happens. We don't get to meet all of these wonderful coaches from all over the country. We don't get to share with all of them. We don't get to build the relationships that are now being built. There's just so much good stuff. Everybody knows that I'm always talking about coaches' education and what it means to build relationships and talk to other coaches, because all it does is make us better so that our players can be that much better. So please, everybody, go out there and learn as much as you can. I mean, the ABCA convention is coming up next week, and if you're not a member of the ABCA, then I can't help you, but you should be a member. If you're coaching baseball at any level, I mean, it doesn't matter. The ABCA has coaches from T-ball all the way up to the highest levels in college. And there are even pro guys that are involved. So look it up. It's a great source to be able to help your players. So, if you enjoyed today's show, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Visit the website at thectbshow.net. Listen to your favorite episodes and please leave us a review. You can also reach out to the show on social media, X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, please drop us an email at clearingthebases@gmail.com. Your feedback helps us bring you the best content and reach more people in the baseball community just like you. And also, let me know if you'd like to be a guest. Until then, coaches and players, keep practicing, stay positive, and remember, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Thanks, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.